Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
So here we are, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 1, Text 25. The chapter is the first step in God realization. So just say the invocation.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So text 25. The gigantic universal form of the personality of Godhead within the body of the universal shell, which is covered by sevenfold material elements, is the subject for the Virat conception. Purport. Simultaneously, the Lord has multifarious other forms, and all of them are identical with the original fountainhead form of the Lord, Sri Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, it has been proven that the original transcendental and eternal form of the Lord is Sri Krishna, and the absolute personality of Godhead. But by his inconceivable internal potency, Atma-maya, he can expand himself by multifarious forms and incarnations simultaneously, without being diminished in his full potency. He is complete, and although innumerable complete forms emanate from him, he is still complete without any loss. That is his spiritual or internal potency. In the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, manifested his Virat Roop just to convince the less intelligent class of men who cannot conceive of the Lord as appearing just like a human being, that he factually has the potency of his claim to be the supreme absolute person without any rival or superior. Materialistic men can think, although very imperfectly, of the huge universal space, comprehending innumerable planets as big as the sun. They can see only the circular sky overhead, without any information that this universe, as well as many other hundreds of thousands of universes, are each covered by sevenfold material coverings of water, fire, air, sky, ego, noumenum, and material nature, just like a huge football. And then there's asterisks and it says soccer ball, because you might not know what football is. The Americans. So just like a huge football, pumped and covered, floating on the water of the causal ocean, wherein the Lord is lying as the Mahavishnu. All the universes in seed are emanating from the breathing of the Mahavishnu, who is but part of a partial expansion of the Lord. And all the universes presided over by the Brahmas vanish when the Mahavishnu withdraws his great breath. In this way, the material worlds are being created and vanish by the supreme will of the Lord. You gotta follow. One can just imagine.
You see?
Can't wait to do it. One can just imagine how ignorant is the poor foolish materialist who simply on the allegations of a dying man puts forward an insignificant creature to become the Lord's rival incarnation. The Virat Rupa was particularly exhibited by the Lord just to give lessons to such foolish men, so that they can accept a person as an incarnation of Godhead only if the person is able to exhibit such a Virat Rup as Lord Krishna did. The materialistic person may concentrate his mind upon the Virat or gigantic form of the Lord in his own interest, and as recommended by Sukadeva Goswami, he must be on his guard not to be misled by pretenders who claim to be Lord Krishna but are not able to act like him or exhibit the Virat Rup, comprehending the whole of the universe.
Interesting, I think that one sentence is missing. Text 26. Persons who have realized it have studied that the planets known as Patala constitute the bottoms of the feet of the Universal Lord. The heels and the toes are the Rasatala planets. The ankles are the Mahatala planets, and his shanks constitute the Talatala planets. Purport. Outside the bodily existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the manifested cosmic existence has no reality. Everything and anything of the manifested world rests on him, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 9.4. But that does not imply that everything and anything in the vision of a materialist is the Supreme Personality. The conception of the universal form of the Lord gives a chance to the materialist to think of the Supreme Lord, but the materialist must know for certain that his visualization of the world in a spirit of lording it over is not God realization. The materialistic view of exploitation of the material resources is occasioned by the illusion of the external energy of the Lord. And as such, if anyone wants to realize the supreme truth by conceiving of the universal form of the Lord, he must cultivate the service attitude. Unless the service attitude is revived, the conception of Virat realization will have very little effect on the seer. The Transcendental Lord in any conception of his form is never a part of the material creation. He keeps his identity as Supreme Spirit in all circumstances and is never affected by the three material qualities, for everything material is contaminated. The Lord always exists by his internal energy.
The universe is divided into 14 planetary systems. 7 planetary systems called Bur, Burva, Swa, Maha, Janas, Tapas, and Satya are upward planetary systems, one above the other. There are also 7 planetary systems downward known as Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Tala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rastatala, and Patala, gradually one below the other. In this verse, the description begins from the bottom because it is in the line of devotion that the Lord's bodily description should begin from his feet. Sukadev Goswami is a recognized devotee of the Lord, and he is exactly correct in the description.
So it means when you describe the body of the Lord, or when you take darshan of the Lord, you should start at the feet and slowly work your way up to the lotus face of the Lord, which in this case would be Satya Loka, or the planet of Lord Brahma, Brahmaloka. Text 27. The knees of the universal form are the planetary systems of the name Sutala, and the 2 thighs are the Vitala and Atala planetary systems. The hips are Mahitala, and outer space is the depression of his navel. 28. The chest of the original personality of the gigantic form is the luminary planetary system. His neck is the Mahar planets. His mouth is the Janas planets, and his forehead is the Tapas planetary systems. The topmost planetary system, known as Satyaloka, is the head of he who has 1,000 heads. Purport. The effulgent luminary planets like the sun and moon are situated almost in the mid-place of the universe, and as such, they are to be known as the chest of the original gigantic form of the Lord. And above the luminary planets called also the heaven, and above the luminary planets called also the heavenly places of the universal directorate demigods are the Mahar, Janas, and Tapas planetary systems, and above all the Satyaloka planetary system, where the chief directors of the modes of material nature reside, namely Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva. This Vishnu is known as the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, and he acts as the supersoul in every living being. There are innumerable universes floating on the causal ocean, and in each of them the representation of the Virat form of the Lord is there, along with innumerable suns, moons, heavenly demigods, Brahmas, Vishnus, and Shivas, all of them situated in the one part of the inconceivable potency of Lord Krishna, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 10:42.
Text 29. His arms are the demigods headed by Indra, the 10 directional sides are his ears, and physical sound is his sense of hearing. His nostrils are the 2 Ashwini Kumaras, and material fragrance is his sense of smell. His mouth is the blazing fire. Purport. The description of the gigantic form of the personality of Godhead, made in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, is further explained here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The description in the Bhagavad Gita 11:30 runs as follows. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouths, covering all the universe with your effulgence. You are manifest with terrible scorching rays. In that way, Srimad Bhagavatam is a postgraduate study for the student of the Bhagavad Gita. Both of them are the science of Krishna, the absolute truth, and so they are interdependent.
The conception of the Virat Purusha, or the gigantic form of the Supreme Lord, is said to include all the dominating demigods as well as the dominated living beings. Even the minutest part of a living being is controlled by the empowered agency of the Lord. Since the demigods are included in the gigantic form of the Lord, worship of the Lord, whether in his gigantic material conception or in his eternal transcendental form as Lord Sri Krishna, also appeases the demigods and all other parts and parcels, as much as watering the root of a tree distributes energy to all the tree's other parts. Consequently, for a materialist also, worship of the universal gigantic form of the Lord leads one to the right path. One need not risk being misled by approaching many demigods for fulfillment of the different desires. The real entity is the Lord himself, and all others are imaginary, for everything is included in him only.
Text 30. The sphere of outer space constitutes his eyeballs, and the sun is his power of seeing. His eyelids are both the day and night, and in the movements of his eyebrows, Brahma and similar supreme personalities reside. His palate is the director of water, Varuna, and the juice or essence of everything is his tongue. Purport. To common sense, the description in this verse appears to be somewhat contradictory, because sometimes the sun is described as the eyeball, and here the outer space sphere is also described. But there is no room for common sense in the injunctions of the Sastras. We must accept the description of the Sastras and concentrate more on the form of the Virat Roop than on common sense. Common sense is always imperfect, whereas the description in the Sastras is always perfect and complete. If there is any incongruity, it is due to our imperfection and not the Sastras. That is a method of approaching Vedic wisdom. Wow.
Well, that sounds like a tough pill to swallow, doesn't
it?
Why is that?
Because it's saying that what we rely on as knowledge or common sense is imperfect, but just accept this book. This is all perfect. And don't question it, even if it's contradictory.
Doesn't sound like an instruction for young people, really, does it?
No.
Or even old people. I mean, in other places, of course, Srila Prabhupada says that we shouldn't be blind followers. If we haven't questions, then we should ask questions, intelligent questions, to clarify our doubts. So that's also there. Text 31. They say that the Vedic hymns are the cerebral passages of the Lord, and his jaws of teeth are Yama, the god of death, who punishes the sinners. The art of affection is his set of teeth, and the most alluring, illusory material energy is his smile. This great ocean of material creation is but the casting of his glance over us. Purport. According to Vedic assertion, this material creation is the result of the Lord's casting a glance over the material energy, which is described herein as the most alluring, illusory energy. The conditioned souls who are allured by such materialism should know that the material temporary creation is simply an imitation of the reality, and that those who are captivated by such alluring glances of the Lord are put under the direction of the controller of sinners called Yamaraj. The Lord smiles affectionately, displaying his teeth. The intelligent person who can grasp these truths about the Lord becomes a soul fully surrendered unto him.
Text 32. Modesty is the upper portion of his hips, hankering is his chin, religion is the breast of the Lord, and irreligion is his back. Brahmaji, who generates all living beings in the material world, is his genitals, and the mitra varunas are his 2 testicles. The ocean is his waist, and the hills and mountains are the stacks of his bones. Purport. The Supreme Lord is not impersonal as misconceived by less intelligent thinkers. Rather, he is a Supreme Person as confirmed in all authentic Vedic literatures. But his personality is different from what we can conceive. It is stated here that Brahmaji acts as his genitals and that the mitra varunas are his 2 testicles. This means that as a person he is complete of all bodily organs. But they are of different types with different potencies. When the Lord is described as impersonal, therefore, it should be understood that his personality is not exactly the type of personality found within our imperfect speculation. One can, however, worship the Lord even by seeing the hills and mountains or the ocean and the sky as different parts and parcels of the gigantic body of the Lord, the Virat Purusha. The Virat Rupa, as exhibited by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, is a challenge to the unbelievers.
There's one thing to remember, though, is that Virat Rupa form is not actually a true-to-life manifestation. It is a concept of a way to imagine how everything in this world, in the material world, is part of Krishna, of God, like that. Text 33. O king, the rivers are the veins of the gigantic body, the trees are the hairs of his body, and the omnipotent air is his breath. The passing ages are his movements, and his activities are the reactions of the 3 modes of material nature. Purport. The personality of Godhead is not a dead stone, nor is he inactive, as is poorly thought by some schools. He moves with the progress of time, and therefore he knows all about the past and future, along with his present activities. There is nothing unknown to him. The conditioned souls are driven by the reactions of the modes of material nature, which are the activities of the Lord. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7:12, the modes of nature act under his direction only, and as such no natural functions are blind or automatic. The power behind the activities is the supervision of the Lord, and thus the Lord is never inactive, as is wrongly conceived. The Vedas say that the Supreme Lord has nothing to do personally, as is always the case with the superiors, but everything is done by his direction. As it is said, not a blade of grass moves without his sanction. In the Brahma Samhita 548, it is said that all the universes and the heads of them the Brahmas, exist only for the duration of his breathing period. The same is confirmed here. The air on which the universes and the planets within the universes exist is nothing but a bit of the breath of the unchallengeable Virat Purusha. So even by studying the rivers, trees, air, and passing ages, one can conceive of the personality of Godhead without being without being misled by the formless conception of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 12.5, it is stated that those who are much inclined to the formless conception of the Supreme Truth are more troubled than those who can intelligently conceive of the personal form.
Text 34. Best among the Kurus, the clouds which carry water are the hairs on his head, the terminations of days or nights are his dress, and the supreme cause of material creation is his intelligence. His mind is the moon, the reservoir of all changes. Text 35. The principle of matter, Mahatattva, is the consciousness of the omnipresent Lord, as asserted by the expert. And Rudradev is his ego. The horse, mule, camel, and elephant are his nails, and wild animals and all quadrupeds. Quadrupeds.
Or quadrupeds, those are pronounced.
Are situated in the belt zone of the Lord. Text 36. Varieties of birds are indications of his masterful artistic sense. Manu, the father of mankind, is the emblem of his standard intelligence, and humanity is his residence. The celestial species of human beings like the Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, Charanas, and angels all represent his musical rhythm, and the demoniac soldiers are representations of his wonderful prowess. Purport. The atheistic sense of the Lord is manifested in the artistic, colourful creation of varieties of birds like the peacock, parrot, and cuckoo. The celestial species of human beings like the Gandharvas and Vidyadharas can sing wonderfully and can entice even the minds of the heavenly demigods. Their musical rhythm represents the musical taste of the Lord. How then can he be impersonal? His musical taste, artistic sense, and standard intelligence, which is never fallible, are different signs of his supreme personality. The Manu Samhita is a standard law book for humanity, and every human being is advised to follow this great book of social knowledge. Human society is a residential quarters for the Lord. This means that the human being is meant for God realization and association with God. This life is a chance for the conditioned soul to regain his eternal God consciousness and thus fulfill the mission of life. Maharaj Prahlad is the right type of representative of the Lord in the family of Asuras. None of the living beings is away from the Lord's gigantic body. Each and every one has particular duty in relation to the Supreme Body. Disruption in the matter of discharging the specific duty assigned to each and every living being is the cause of disharmony between one living being and another. But when the relation is re-established in relation with the Supreme Lord, there is complete unity between all living beings, even up to the limit of the wild animals and human society. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu displayed this living unity in the jungle of Madhya Pradesh, where even the tigers, elephants, and many other ferocious animals perfectly cooperated in glorifying the Supreme Lord. That is the way to peace and amity all over the world. What is it?
Friendship. Amity.
Amity means friendship.
Okay. Text 37. Yeah. The Virat Purusha's face is the Brahmanas. His arms are the Kshatriyas. His thighs are the Vaishyas, and Shudras are under the protection of his feet. All the worshipable demigods are also overtaken by him, and it is the duty of everyone to perform sacrifices with feasible goods to appease the Lord. Purport. Monotheism is practically suggested here. Offering sacrifices to many demigods under different names is mentioned in the Vedic literatures. But the suggestion made in this verse is that all those varieties of demigods are included in the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are only the parts and parcels of the original whole. Similarly, the divisions of the orders of human society, namely the Brahmanas, the intelligent class, the Kshatriyas, the administrators, the Vaishyas, the mercantile community, and the Shudras, the laborer class, are all included in the body of the Supreme. As such, sacrifice by every one of them in terms of pleasing the Supreme by feasible goods is recommended. Generally, the sacrifice is offered with clarified butter and grains, but with the progress of time, human society has produced varieties of goods by transforming materials supplied by God's material nature. Human society, therefore, must learn to offer sacrifices not only with clarified butter, but also with other manufactured goods in the propagation of the Lord's glory. And that will bring about perfection in human society. The intelligent class of men, or brahmanas, may give direction for such sacrifices in consultation with the previous acharyas. The administrators may give all facilities to perform such sacrifices. The Vaishya class, or mercantile community, who produce such goods may offer them for sacrifice. And the Shudra class may offer their manual labor for the successful termination of such sacrifice. Thus, by the cooperation of all classes of human beings, the sacrifice recommended in this age, namely the sacrifice of congregational chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, may be executed for the common welfare of all the people of the world.
Okay, text one more.
Okay.
Text 38.
Oh, that's a long purport.
Shall we stop me?
Yeah, let's stop here.
Okay, sorry.
All right, thank you for tuning in. So, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. We'll pick up with text 38 next time.
Okay.
And so remember, we have this beautiful, beautiful Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a special edition that has Shishi Radhalandanishwar on the front from their 50th anniversary. So if you're interested, send us a message. We'll get one to you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.